Chapter 4. The Raichand name carried weight, an unspoken command that demanded obedience, fear and respect. Their presence at any event was never just an appearance. It was a statement. Tonight, Rudra and Aadhira were expected to attend a high-profile business gala. Their first public outing as husband and wife. The world wanted a glimpse of the new Mrs. Raichand, the woman who had unexpectedly taken Ishani Kapoor's place. Aadhira had no interest in playing the part of the dutiful wife. But Rudra did not tolerate weakness. As they entered the ballroom, all eyes turned to them. Some with curiosity, some with speculation, and many with thinly veiled judgment. Aadhira's posture was perfect, her silk sari draped flawlessly around her, as she kept a polite yet distant smile on her lips. She could feel Rudra beside her, his presence like a shadow, commanding, inescapable. Even without touching her, he claimed the space around her. But tonight, he would learn that she was not his possession. The evening went smoothly, until it didn't. Aadhira had been speaking with a group of business executives when a man stepped too close. Karan Malhotra, billionaire investor. Charming. And very, very interested. His smile was easy, confident. So, Mrs. Raichand, how does it feel to be the most talked about bride in the country? Aadhira forced a gracious smile. The media exaggerates everything, Mr. Malhotra. He tilted his head, eyes gleaming with amusement. Does it? Or is it true that you married Rudra in place of his real bride? Her fingers curled around her clutch. I don't believe my marriage is up for discussion. Karan laughed. Forgive me, but I can't help being curious. You're unexpected. His gaze traveled down her sari-clad form, lingering longer than necessary. And quite stunning. Aadhira's spine stiffened. She knew that look. Before she could take a step back, a familiar hand wrapped around her waist. Firm. Unyielding. Possessive. She didn't need to turn to know who it was. Rudra. His grip was deceptively light, but his fingers pressed into her skin, just enough to send a silent message. Mine. The room felt smaller, tighter. Karan's expression faltered just slightly, the amusement in his gaze replaced by caution. Is there a problem, Malhotra? Rudra's voice was smooth, but his eyes were deadly. Karan chuckled, lifting his hands in mock surrender. Not at all. Just complimenting your wife. Rudra's grip tightened. Aadhira inhaled sharply, the heat of his palm searing through the delicate fabric of her sari. You see, that's where you're wrong. Rudra's tone was dangerously soft, his fingers shifting ever so slightly against Aadhira's waist. His next words sent a shiver down her spine. No man compliments what belongs to me. The air crackled. Karan's smile turned uneasy. Of course. Enjoy your evening, Raichand. As soon as he walked away, Aadhira turned to glare at Rudra. What the hell was that? She hissed under her breath. Rudra didn't release her. If anything, his grip tightened. He leaned down slightly, his breath brushing against her ear. I don't like men touching what's mine. She exhaled sharply, her pulse hammering against her throat. I am not yours, Rudra. His smirk was dark, knowing. Say that again. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Because she couldn't. Because he knew it was a lie. By the time they reached home, the tension had reached a breaking point. Aadhira stormed into their bedroom, ripping off her earrings, her pulse still racing from the evening's events. The door clicked shut behind her. She whirled around. Rudra stood near the entrance, watching her with the same intensity he had in the ballroom. You embarrass me, she snapped. You had no right. No right. He let out a dark laugh, shaking his head. Then in a blink he moved. Fast. Dangerous. Before she could react, her back hit the wall. Her breath hitched as Rudra caged her in, his hands pressed against the doorframe beside her, his body just inches from hers. You still don't get it, do you? His voice was low, a whisper against her skin. You are my wife. That means no other man gets to look at you. No other man gets to speak your name like that. No other man gets to stand that close to you. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, her fingers pressing into the cold surface behind her. You don't get to control me, Rudra. His lips tilted into a smirk, but his eyes burned with something much darker. Who said anything about control? His fingers brushed against her wrist slowly, deliberately. This is just possession. Her heart slammed against her ribs. You're insane. He exhaled sharply. his gaze dipping to her lips for a fleeting second before locking onto her eyes again. And you are playing with fire, Aadhira. The space between them felt smaller, tighter. His heat was overwhelming, his presence suffocating. Aadhira swallowed, her body betraying her as a shiver ran down her spine. She needed to get out of here. Before she did something reckless. Like kiss him first. Her breath came out in short, sharp bursts as she forced herself to push him back. Stay out of my way, Rudra. He didn't move. If anything, he leaned in closer, his voice a dangerous whisper. Too late for that, wife. And then just like that he stepped away, leaving her breathless, leaving her shaken, leaving her wanting. As the door shut behind him, Aadhira pressed a trembling hand to her chest, trying to calm the raging storm inside her. This was a dangerous game, and she was losing.